to the World of Thaylos.
Hi!
In our last episode, we began exploring the very large port of Sheridan, the large city of Port Sheridan. Many different areas were discovered, and rumors were heard as well. When we last left the party, they were in an arcane academy area where Marcus had been led into the main tower of the main sorcery tower to meet with the Archmage, while the rest of the party went into Mortimer's shop, where they encountered a Dragonborn who was busily trying to sell them different magic items and enchantments. Let us return to the jolly scene.
The Jolly Sea. Oh, I thought you said the sea.
The jolly scene.
Okay.
Sorry.
See me later, my laddie.
Okay.
Indeed. All right. When we last left, Foluco had stopped at the library at the Sheridan Academy of Learning, and was checking out. Was actually reading, not checking out, reading several books, and doing some research. This was not to the knowledge of the party, and the rest of you don't know what he is researching or why. Meanwhile, at Rusty's Cobbler, Foluco and Mira were able to discover a gnome who was an accomplished shoemaker, and who claimed to have seen one of a group of shady individuals who were meeting in the very late hours of the night. They were hiding in dark corners or in alleyways, and he could not detect what they were talking about. But being a shoemaker, he was able to hear the sound of their shoes and boots on the cobblestones, and he could tell that they were very well made, probably owned by someone of nobility or at least barony. He claimed that several of the figures went off to the north into the residential areas, but one of them went here over to the prison complex and a sewer grate that leads underneath the sewer complex and out into the surrounding ocean. Another event that occurred is in here, in one of the green spaces of Port Sheridan, was larger-than-life statues of a party who claimed to have cleared this area from its previous residents, a group of orcs and goblins. They had cleared the area so that civilization could move in, and the leader of this party was none other than Sheridan himself, for whom the city was named.
Hey, I've got a question about that.
Yes.
Is that the party from your last Dungeons & Dragons campaign?
It is not.
Okay. I was wondering if that was like a little Easter egg or something.
That's a good question, but no, it is not actually. But yeah, that is a very good question.
Good use of Easter eggs, though. That'd be great.
Yes.
Indeed.
The campaigns that go through it. That'd be fun.
Over here, you found the crafting district, which is a large central building that doubles as both the crafting offices and a shop of sorts, where numerous crafting items can be bought and sold. Anything from metalworking, blacksmithing, woodworking, leatherworking, and the like, of all of the physical crafting activities can be found and purchased here, except for boat making, which is to be found more down near the dock area. In this area here, that's not what I meant, okay? In this area here is the School of the Arcane, which is surrounded by an anti-magic shell that only the most powerful of casters are able to come. In the center of the square is the Mage Tower, and at the base of the Mage Tower, guarded night and day by several mages, is the display of artifacts.
So I was curious about that shell. Is that a shell covering the school, allowing magic to like not escape it, or is it an anti-magic zone itself?
It is an anti-magic zone, so that experiments and spellcasting can take place without any of the undesirable results.
So magic can still be cast, it's heavily dampened.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can tell that magic is being cast. You can tell that there are effects, but it is severely weakened, so that a fireball will end up being no more than a bright flash and a spark.
All right.
Flashlight ball.
Indeed, flashlight ball.
Last mob.
And finally, over here in this area is the government and religious complex. You see, there's the county courthouse and the mayor's congress on the east and west sides. And to the north and south is the temple to Kexoth and the temple to Orleana. This area has become the focus of a great amount of tension. So much, in fact, that the central buildings here have had to be repurposed for law enforcement in order to keep the peace between the two temples.
Endless threats of glaring stares.
We return now to Mortimer's shop. When we finished our last episode, Mortimer was busy in the back at an MS table, preparing some sort of concoction, which, when he completed it, glowed bright yellow and then turned absolutely clear, whereupon he picked up the bowl and drank its entire contents. Then he was able to turn to you and begin talking business. Lining the shelves and the walls of this shop are various wonderful looking items, potions and colors of every kind, tinctures and different cloths and curious looking items. Nothing of armor or weapons, I'm afraid, but you can see various rods and wands and rings and staves that would be prepared by mage crafters. Now, Mortimer, who is a Dragonborn, has told you that some of these items are simply experiments that were produced by the students. And there is a standards committee that reviews these experiments before putting them up for sale. But Mortimer has confided in you that he does not trust this standards committee because he doesn't believe they're enough. So he makes a habit of separating the student experiments from the items that he feels are worth selling. And he made sure to point out to you the ones that you should and should not buy.
Okay, I like this guy.
Can I have a look at some of these student ones?
Okay, well, you can look at the student experiments. There is a shelf that has rows and rows of multicolored tinctures, and then on the opposite shelf there is a section of potions, some of which are smoking, some are bubbling, and one of them actually has a cracked vial. It doesn't look like it's leaking, but it looks like the liquid inside is rather viscous.
Well, are there any of these student experiments that are actually
acceptable? Well, according to the standards committee that in the Mage Tower, these are perfectly legal and safe for sale. Although he points to the vial with the crack in the side of it, I wouldn't drink that if I were you.
What
looks like
do?
you took one on them, the attempt.
Well, that actually is supposed to be rather benign. It is supposed to be a cleansing potion made to cleanse the imbiber of various minor sicknesses and diseases. However, you can see that it has spoiled, and it's if you could actually get it out of the bottle, I wouldn't drink it. I would pour it on the pavement and use it as a cleaner.
Fancy soap, perhaps?
And yeah, I suppose.
Well,
However,
I don't need
the
to hate
the
this soap.
standards committee requires me to put these up for sale. I suppose just to so that the egos of the top students don't get bruised.
If my character were there, he would ask if any of the bottles have gained sentience.
Now, are there only potions that are the student work, or are there any like knickknacks, necklaces, rings, whatnot?
Oh well, if you'll follow me over here to this next aisle, and
I
he
follow.
brings you to the next aisle where there are several small tables laying out among the shelves, and on these tables, covered in glass, there is an assortment of rings and wands and different rods, and even a couple of different pairs of bracers and a rather nice looking staff. These are all more toward the back of the shop. Further up toward the front of the shop, you can see there are several other tables that have similar items, but you can tell just at a glance that the craftsmanship is much better. The ones that are closer to the front of the shop.
Mhm.
So Mortimer actually comes to you, Luzfang, and he's asking, "Well, why the interest in the student experiments?"
Well, I mean, one, you could say I'm appreciative of those that try something, even if they're not the best at it. But I also never know, you might find a hymn, you know?
I do hear what you're saying. In fact, now that you mention it, this staff right here, and he points to the one leaning against a center pillar. This staff right here really isn't bad. This one was created by one of the newer students. He's only a second year, but he carved it himself, and so I'm thinking he might be a better wood carver than a mage. However, he was able to enchant it, and
Really nice.
this staff he claims is a staff of magic missiles. Unfortunately, while it works perfectly, it only holds 3 charges. A standard staff is supposed to hold 10, and so the problem with the staff is not the functionality; it's just it's going to burn out a lot sooner.
Ah, I get it. How much is it?
That particular staff, I'll part with it for 20 gold.
Loose Fang reaches into his bag and feels around, see how much I might have left.
How much do you have left?
47.
Yeah. You guys do know that you left some treasure back on the ship, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do run out of money, you can always make the trek back to the ship, recover any treasure that's on there, and then come back.
Let's just hope that the people who did check our ship did not take all that gold with them.
If anyone did at all.
You'll have to see. Well, you did anchor it out beyond the shoals, so in order to get there, they'd either have to sail down the shipping channel and then around up north around the shoals, or brave the shoals themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I am going to ask
Came here on the
about
catamaran.
enchanted weapons for fighting undead/ghosty thing.
Ah, really? So what you're looking for my tinctures, and then he takes you up to the front of the store on the northern side, and he shows you a shelf with what appear to be ink bottles. They look like normal ink bottles with a dark liquid side, and they're all stopped with a cork. And then I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you say tinctures or inks?
These are tinctures, indeed. Yes, Not to confuse the two, because the inkture, you dip a quill into it and then you can make a mess on your paper. No, these are tinctures, and you do not apply them with ink. You actually apply them to a cloth and apply several coats to the desired item, and then the effect will take form on the item. And then he begins to sort through them, and he says, here we are, let's see. And he pulls two of them out, says, either one of these would be effective, although this one is quite a bit stronger, but I'm not sure you can afford this one. This one is 500 gold.
Well, that would be worth a big raid to the ship and have the Dragonborn carry it all for me, but...
This other one here, this other one here will only cost you 50 gold. It's not quite as effective, but it will still be able to hit the undead and cause damage to them. Most of the time when you try and hit in something that's incorporeal like a ghost, your weapons will pass right through it. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that before.
Do you think I could soak arrow tips in?
Absolutely, absolutely. Although I think it's a bit of a waste because, well, unless you're able to recover the arrows themselves, they're only one use.
I try to make a point to grab my used missiles, so...
Well, if you are able to recover them, then yes, you can probably make quite a bit of use out of this. Although the tincture bottle is small, I'm not sure you could do more than a couple dozen arrows.
Well, mostly it's the tip that has to do the damage, so...
This is true.
I'm interested. I'll buy.
50 gold for this bottle of tincture. You sure you don't want the stronger one?
That would require a trip back to our hold.
You've run into a bit of wealth, I see.
Thanks, Shake.
Well then. And then he gets a bit of a greedy glint in his eyes. You're probably wanting some of the special items.
I'm just looking for something that can get the job done.
Oh, certainly. But for only 50 gold, surely you have something, surely you have more than that. And you might be interested in some of the special artifacts that I don't keep up here at the front for fear that they might be stolen.
All right, let's take a look.
Right this way, sir, right this way. And he actually walks toward the door at the back of the shop, past the alchemy table, into a back room. Do you guys follow him, or just Sheik?
I'm gonna continue looking at the student. You mentioned bracer. So
Yeah. By the way, did you purchase that staff?
I hadn't gotten a chance to yet.
Okay. So yes,
but
in fact, he does poke his head back from Sheik, and he says, you did want to purchase that, did you?"
I think I might. I could see it useful.
Very well, very well.
Now you said it has 3 charge. What does that mean? I'm not magically inclined.
All right. Let me explain. So he picks up the staff and hands it to you. Here's how it works. You hold it out in front of you at an angle of approximately 45 degrees, with the head pointed outward. Do not point the head toward yourself, otherwise you will have some disastrous results.
Gotcha.
Point the head out away from yourself and speak in a clear voice the command word, Arcanum. Yes.
Arcane.
Yes. Whereupon each charge will launch 3 bolts of blue energy unerringly toward your target.
How will it know what target I'm?
Oh, but it's whatever you pointed at.
Okay.
The amazing thing. See, magic missile is such a basic spell, but it's an amazing spell because whoever developed it was a genius. it strikes unerringly.
Not too many spells I've heard of can actually do.
Yes, I know. It's amazing. That's usually why Magic Missile is one of those spells that is so common. If you'll... One moment, I've got a phone call.
Sure.
Hello?
I think I'm just gonna take a look at his rare items and see if any of them are even worth it.
Hmm.
Though in the future, we probably don't want to go announcing
Yeah,
that
man,
we
knock
have...
yourself out. Sorry.
Well, I said hold, not ship.
All in all,
If
that
anything,
might
I
get
tell
some...
people that we own the mansion that and that we raid.
Never know who might be listening in.
Yeah, be careful about that.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Were you guys saying something you didn't want me to hear?
No. We
Of
would
course
never.
not.
We would never.
We were just talking about how to make loaded D20s.
Yeah.
Oh, indeed.
Digital loaded D20.
Oh, that's not hard.
I don't know where my scissors went.
All right. So, are you clear on how that the staff works, sir?
I think so. And so that means that I use it 3 times, it becomes a normal staff?
That is correct.
Or is there
However,
any way to recharge?
yes, you'll have to bring it back here, and for I can recharge it.
Only for the 3 charges, though?
Unfortunately, that's the capacity.
Right. Racer.
Indeed. Can I work with this young man first, and then I'll come right back out to you.
Sure thing. I wait.
Very well.
Is it safe for me to look around, or should I just...
Oh, you can look just fine. I just I don't recommend you pick things up.
Alrighty. Duly noted.
So Sheik, he takes you into the back room, and you can see there this back room is actually fairly disorganized, and you can see piles of different knickknacks and raw materials lining work tables, and you can see there are several shelves with empty vials and empty tincture bottles and different corks and things like that. But in one corner of the room, there is a locked cabinet, and he goes over to the cabinet and takes a key out from his tunic that is on a necklace around his neck, and using this key opens the locked cabinet. And when he opens the cabinet, you can see inside there is it is almost like a shrine. You can see it is all very neatly organized. You can see 2 crossed blades that are hanging behind a gleaming shield, and underneath this shield, you can see there is a helmet, a full plate helmet that looks like it belongs on a jouster. And then above the 2 swords on the shield, you can see there are 2 leather gauntlets, and above that you can see what looks to be a riding crop or a whip. You're not sure. And then hanging on the sides of the cabinets, you can see several there are 3 different rings, and then there is a very intricate looking wand. And so he turns to you proudly and he says, "This is the personal adventuring gear of my predecessor. He left it to me and said to only sell it for the best price possible. These are the artifacts of the shop, and many have come to see them, but only one item has been sold. And that the item that has been sold was his claymore. So that is no longer part of the collection, but everything else you see here is for sale."
Tell me about his equipment.
About what?
Tell me about the equipment.
All right.
I'm intrigued.
This helmet here was his personal favorite. This is a helmet of true seeing. If you place it upon you, it guards your head like normal armor, but anything that you view, visor, will be seen in its true form. It immediately penetrates through invisibility, through illusions, and through any attempt to blind you at all. It makes you immune to anything that would cloud or distort your vision, and you see everything as it truly is. Quite the wondrous artifact. The crossed swords are the dual blades of Kelsington. These 2 blades, when used by themselves, are normal long swords, but when they are wielded one in each hand, then they act together to become very powerful. My wife just came in. She wanted to say something. Hold on.
All right.
Sounds like some
I'm just enjoying this lovely music. I grew up playing Final Fantasy IX.
Just so y'all know, it says I'm idle. I'm working on
What's
a
that?
fleece blanket. So I'm just, it says I'm idle, but I'm actually just muted, I think. So don't think I'm not listening, I am. Just, I'm crafting. I'm crafting. Don't cry, craft.
It's okay. Crafting has got me through many things.
Yes.
Rocks, trees, sticks, light.
Oh, look, I'm loving these memes that you keep posting.
So that helmet sounds pretty nice, and I'm not quite sure about the swords yet. But they
Oh, I'd
sound like
love to
they'd be
see what my true form is. It's my character.
So, since we have kind of disposed of my old enemy, Mr. Terrell Gray, I wonder, do you think I could sell the Foxglove Manor?
Do you have the deed to it?
I'm sure that I could find a good forger. Anyways, we cleared that place out.
Yeah.
And we cleared out Mr. Graves.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he would miss it.
Not where he's going.
Obviously not.
All right, forgive me, guys. We've got issues going on that needed my attention.
You're fine.
You're okay.
Did you hear Kimberly?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I heard her.
Yeah.
You're forgiven.
Family comes first.
She says you're forgiven, sweetheart.
Tell them I love them even more.
Ha.
Well, they're all LDS priests. Does that make a difference? No, it doesn't? You love them anyway.
I want to meet your wife. She sounds like a nice lady.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. That's kind of why I married her, you know. among other reasons.
You seem nice. Can we get married?
Yeah, that's the
I'm
only
sure
reason
there was
why
more
we
than
got.
that, but
That was Tarek's proposal. Just, you seem nice. Can we get
No.
married?
Not going to do it during this session, but be sure to ask me afterward about how I really asked her to marry.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
I want to hear that story.
All right. So, the crossed blades of Kensington. They must be dual wielded in order to take effect. But when they are dual wielded, then every time that a double strike is accomplished, when both swords hit the enemy, then it creates an electrical current through the enemy that does extra lightning damage.
all right, I'm very intrigued by that one.
The shield, on the other hand, not only adds extra protection against the wearer, but also gives him damage resistance against fire.
Ooh.
This one was used to fight dragons, and you can still see, even though this shield has taken full blasts of dragon flame, there's not a blemish. It has remained gleaming to this day.
I wonder what my Patreon would think of this, since we are kind of working for a dragon and an amulet.
Indeed.
Mhm.
Good thing Mira
Gothos
is
wouldn't
not.
like it.
Yeah, Mira is not here in the shop, and which means Gothos is also not.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gothos wouldn't like it.
Probably not. All right. Above those are the leather riding gauntlets. These gauntlets have two purposes. One, as anyone who wears them will immediately gain skill as a rider, even if they've had no training in riding. Wearing these gauntlets, they will be able to ride at an accomplished level. The other is anyone who uses these gauntlets with archery will find that they have a much easier time hitting their target.
Would you say
Ooh.
better than these gloves?
I say that again?
I show him my archery gloves. Would you say better than these?
May I examine those, young man?
Sure. I remove my archery enchanted gloves and allow him to examine.
Yes. Let's see. Standard cowhide, average enchantment. Applied quite effectively, I might add. Low level, however, effective. Yes, these are quite nice. The artifacts here in the cabinet will perform at about 2 or 3 times that level.
All right. Tell me about the rings.
Okay, so he takes the 3 rings from their hooks very gently and holds them in his hands. One of them looks to be made entirely of ruby, and it's actually rather dazzling in the light. The other 2 are both gold. So the ruby ring is a this one is a ring of summoning. It will allow you to summon a fire elemental. Either one major fire elemental, 2 minor ones. But you can only do it. The charge only lasts for a week, and so it recharges itself, but it takes a week to fully recharge. But the summoning, once you summon the elemental or elementals, then it will last for up to 2 hours before they are banished, and they will do your bidding during those 2 hours. Now the 2 gold rings This one is a ring of spell storing, which will allow you to actually cast spells upon it, and it will store the spells in it until you are ready to release those spells, which gives the effect of you can cast spells on this ring, and it will store it, and then you can rest and memorize new spells, and then have these other spells storing, so it gives you extra spell to cast.
So it acts as an extra
Ooh.
spell slot.
Yeah.
Yes, it's called the Ring of Spell Storing.
And could a not utilize said spell?
If you're not a caster, then it probably won't do you much good, I'm afraid.
Would it work for clerics?
Yes, it works for arcane and divine casters.
Ooh.
I have a cleric friend who would be very interested in that.
Indeed, indeed. And then this last year, he actually holds it very close to his chest. It only has one charge left. This is a ring of 3 wishes, and 2 of them have already been used. Anyone wearing this ring and pronounces the phrase, "I wish," followed by their request, will have their entire request fulfilled. And then the ring will become inert and useless. It only has 1 charge left. But this is the most valuable artifact in this collection. Finally, and he very gently puts the rings back onto their hooks. And then finally, this wand, and he takes the wand from a stand inside the cabinet. This is a wand of polymorph. And it has a permanency spell on it, which means it has an infinite amount of charges.
Excellent.
It can take any medium or smaller creature and transform them into a creature of one size class smaller. But any creature that you desire, as long as that creature is normally found on the prime material plane. So, if you wanted to change your friend into a rabbit, you could do it. Or, if you wanted to change a rabbit into an insect, you could do it.
Neat.
Sadly, the effect only lasts for several minutes.
Can you change your insect into an electron?
You can turn him into a ferret like in Harry Potter.
A living creature. I do not know of this electron you speak of.
You realize if I bought that thing, I would name it Wabbajack.
Wabbajack?
You know, why did it Wabbajack? Gosh, I didn't
Oh
even
my
know that.
gosh.
You're right, it's the Wabbajack.
You turned me into a newt. A newt.
Oh, I go better.
I go better. No, you gotta kind of like say it stammering, like I go better.
I go better. So that is the collection of my master. Are any of these items to your liking?
Well, definitely the helmet, the swords, the fire ring, and the wish ring, and I would also enjoy the Wabbajack.
In other words, you want them all.
We'll take the lot.
I would take the lots. I need to determine something that would be of a value worthy of such a purchase.
Because the entire collection, I'll give you a discount if you buy the entire collection altogether. For the entire collection, I'll charge you 84,000 gold.
Do we have that pocket money?
No, you don't.
Oh, you're crushing my dreams.
I know I'm not there, but how much does the ruby ring cost?
Just the ruby ring of fire elemental summoning?
Yes, because it's not metal.
No, that would be 3,500.
Oh.
Yeah. Can you give me a small price breakdown on Discord, and I can.
If you do it in general, I'll pin it.
Okay, let me go ahead and do that. In the general. Okay.
because I have a possible solution of how to pay for.
All you gotta do is get the ring of wishes and wish for the rest of the money.
Wish for the money for the rest.
Oh my goodness.
Loopholes.
An unforeseen loophole. Loose Fang, you should be a lawyer. You just find all the loopholes.
You know, I
Does
wonder.
maniacal laugh.
I wonder why the. Oh, that's why.
He should give us a discount on the Ring of Wishes because it's only got one wish.
Oh no, that's with one wish left.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's completely.
That's
worse.
still a wish.
Yeah.
Of which,
Well,
if I
it
could,
wished. It wasn't
I might
so
just keep to myself.
expensive.
You know, I was half expecting Sheik to be like, "Can I like look at the ring for a second?" and then like quickly put it on and use the wish.
Oh, I may be the thief of the party, but I'm at least trying to be.
I don't think that would go as well as we hope.
No, you'd probably get thrown in jail. Let's be honest here.
Well, it's called an investment. You use the ring to get the money to pay for the ring.
It's an investment.
You know, I'm wondering why he hasn't already used the ring already.
Well, some people don't know what to wish for, and he might have just kept it out of respect for his former friend.
If
Or
he kept
it could have had another charge
for his
before that.
former friend, he wouldn't have tried to sell it.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of that one shop at the beginning of Diablo 1 who is like hidden off on the far left side of the camp, who has like outrageously high prices that are just impossible for someone that just started the game like 1 minute prior.
Oh, he never talked about the riding crop, did he?
No, he didn't.
Yeah. The riding crop is actually a mount summoner. It allows you to summon a griffin that you can ride for up to 1 hour.
That sounds awesome. Alright. I'm going to have to
Wait.
see what I can do to procure funds.
I'm
This
curious.
is fantastic.
Could you use the ring of summoning to cast the ring of summoning onto the ring of spell storing, and then a week later use both of them at the same time?
Wait a minute. Oh, you mean summoning the fire elementals?
Yeah, like use the spell onto the ring of spell
Use the
storing,
spell on the spell
and then-
storage ring.
and then
wait a
1 week
and
later
get them
be
all.
able to use 2.
That is a creative
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Suppose.
move. High level.
So, there is your set. There is your set. And altogether, that's going to be much more than 84,000, but he'll sell you the entire set for 84,000.
What a bargain.
Say again?
What a bargain. Sorry.
Anyway, so he
All right.
replaces all the items into the cupboard and again locks it with the strange key that he wears around his neck and then ushers you out of the room. So, are you ready to talk shop?
I tell him that I am interested and that I will see what I may do to procure the funds for him as soon as possible, so
Oh.
that we maybe.
What's Samuel doing during this time?
He went with Loose Fang into the shop, and he was actually asked, something that happened last week. I don't know if you this Sheik. Samuel went into the shop with Loose Fang, and he was looking in wonder at all these different things. And Loose Fang said, "Better not touch any of those things." And he said, "Why not?" "Well, you might grow a tail."
A fish tail.
And then Samuel said, "But what if I want a tail?" And then Loose Fang said, "It's a fish tail." And then Samuel put his hands in his pockets.
Yep.
Well, if
Poor
I got
kid
the
is
right,
scared.
if I got
said
the
it. I might.
Definitely
be.
a way to get kids scared.
Meanwhile, let's move the action to Marcus.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Johnson, the mage guard, is guiding you up what seemed to be an innumerable number of stairs to the top of the tower to get to the Archmage's office. And so, let's see. So, Marcus, can you give me a fortitude save?
Fortitude saving throw?
Yes, sir.
Hold on.
You are climbing several hundred stairs here.
Okay, give me 1 second. Fortitude saving.
Okay, that's good enough. Even though you are quite winded, by the time you reach the top, you are able to endure, and surprisingly, Johnson, the mage guard at your side, seems to have climbed the stairs with very little effort. You resolve to ask him about that trick once you exit the tower.
Okay.
So, you arrive you walk down a small hallway, and you arrive at a set of intricate-looking doors with 2 palm trees and then 2 oak trees emblazoned on the doors.
Huh.
Johnson taps on the doors, and they immediately but slowly open inward. And you are met with a rather stark-looking white office, which looks entirely blank for a very large room, except at the very center is a large oak desk. And sitting hunched over this desk, you can see what looks like a wolf.
Oh. Hello there.
And he
Is
looks up
that-
at you, and you can see it is one of the raised.
I start
look-
talking to him in canon.
He looks up at
Hi.
you, and his eyes, you can see that he is clearly a gray muzzle, and and the fur around his ears is grayed and thin and wiry. You can tell that he's gotten on in his years. But he does raise from his seat, and he extends a paw towards you, and he speaks in a gravelly voice. "Welcome, brother, welcome. What brings you here?"
Well, we're here on a quest.
"Ah, quest, yes, they always say a quest. It's always a quest. Come, tell me, what is this quest?"
I was told that I need to find Maid Marian to help
And
me with
he-
my... Sorry, were you gonna say something?
Well, his face darkens at the mention of the name Miriam.
Well, see, I have this special gift that I was told that I was assigned at birth. And a prophecy was foretold by a wise man in my village that these gifts should be used for good to unite the clans, or they can be used for evil to completely destroy everything in its path. I
You're-
prefer the former.
"You're from the Canid clans of the North?"
Yes.
From the mountain regions, no doubt.
Yes.
I'm familiar with the area. Never quite been there myself, but I've seen it many a time. So, which clan are you from?
I am from one of the numerous Germanic clans.
Indeed.
I am son of Sir Hans Friedrich Schultz. Leader of the
Indeed.
Schultz clan.
Really? And what is your name, son?
Marcus Friedrich Schultz.
I have heard of this prophecy. You will be happy to hear this prophecy. I have it written here somewhere. Let me find it in my archives. One moment. And then he walks over to the side of the room, and the room looks completely bare, and you have no idea what he's going and looking. But he holds up his paws, and he appears to be thumbing through sheets of paper and books and things that you can't quite see. And then he says, "Ah, yes, here it is." And he pulls a sheet of paper out of nothing, to your great surprise. He has a folded parchment in his paws, and he comes over to you and unfolds it gently, and then he shows you the prophecy as it was written. And he says, "I'm not sure who prophecy, but there are a few extra details here that you may not be aware of.
Tell me, what does it say?
The powers of magic are only to be learned among the Canids. There is only one born in every millennium, born with the gift, and it appears that that you may be the one. Have you manifested any of your powers yet?"
I ready an ice bolt and shoot it at the wall.
"Oh, delightful, delightful." Again.
Sorry, what?
He said, "Oh, that's delightful. Do that again."
Alright. I shoot another one at the opposite wall.
"Oh, indeed," and he claps his paws together like a delighted child. "You see, don't you see, don't you see? There's an anti-magic shell around this entire complex. And yet you just did what you did. Did you see that?"
I did. But this is something that I have been unable to really control ever since I was born. And this is
so
something that I've barely been able to grasp.
He takes his paws and he grabs your paws and he's examining them very closely. And it's like it's like a child with a new toy. You can see that his paws are old and worn, and you can feel the skin under his fur is rough. You can tell that he's been around for quite some time, but you can sense an energy and enthusiasm from him that belies his age. So, tell me, sir, how did you do that, by the way? Do you know anything else?
Well, I do know a few things, but I would prefer not to do them,
He can make
as it's
slushies.
dangerous.
So you have learned the wisdom of the dangers of the power. Yes. Are you a student at the school here, pray tell?
No.
Oh, you're not?
No.
You speak to me as if you're a second-year student, and you manifest powers just like them. And yet you're still able to overcome the magic shell? This is rather perplexing.
I'm starting to get a little bit nervous and worried.
So then he notices your discomfort and he says, "Oh, forgive me. I haven't even introduced myself. Come, my boy, come, sit down." And then he shows you to a chair that appears out of thin air, sitting in front of the desk.
Okay.
Forgive me, forgive me. I am Master Shadrach. I am the headmaster of the School of Arcane. And, to be honest, I haven't had this position for all that long. How old do you think I am, really?
You can't be anything older than 40.
He chuckles a bit. Do you know how long we live, my canids and well, then the members of the race? Do you know how we live, boy?
Well, I do know, of course, the wise man of my village is currently 240.
Indeed. And you want to know how old I am? 26. And then he bangs his paw on the table and begins laughing. Figure that, eh? 26.
Yeah,
I don't look it, do I?
I don't think so, no.
And then he motions you to come closer. He said, "Let me tell you a secret, my young boy. In truth, I really am over 600 years old. But this body I'm in is only 26 years old. I was once an elf, you know. And elves, high elves can live upwards of 1100 years. I was in my 7th year when a magical mishap transferred my soul into the body of a young canid. Rather tragic, I might add. I was never able to find my true self. But I've been in this body for 26 years.
I look at him nervously.
No, go ahead.
You stole the life of another.
Oh, forgive me. No. This was not intentional, I assure you. It was a mishap. I had no intention of taking this body. I went searching for my old self, trying to put myself back in order, but sadly I was unable to find my elven body. I don't know if it was destroyed or taken or whatnot. Unfortunately, the body that I have now, well, I'm afraid I'm stuck with it.
Oh, I still look at him nervously. What do you want with me?
Forgive me, my boy, forgive me. I have a tendency to ramble. You know, it's the 100 years behind me. Let's make this official then. And he sits down at his desk. Welcome to the School of the Arcane. You are not a wizard. I'm not sure if anyone has told you this, but you are one of the rare cases where they are born with the gift, and no amount of academic training will be able to draw that gift out of you. You're going to need to learn it by doing. I can offer you my guidance, but I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help, because I come from a rather academic and studious background.
In that case, I've been told that I probably should find a mage. I know of one, being Maid Marian.
Yes. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm afraid I have to agree. Well, Miriam, believe it or not, is also not a wizard. She is a sorceress, like yourself. Although none of the people here at the school were able to determine that. She unfortunately has left over a disagreement about the rules managing the use of magic.
May I ask, what were those disagreements?
She feels that magic is a power to be controlled, to be to be used for one's own purposes. When the truth is, magic is a power to be cooperated with. It is a source of power that is not meant to be controlled. It is meant to be channeled and cooperated, and at times it guides you, and at times you guide it. You work in conjunction and agreement with magic. What she would do is wrest the power from its source and throw it in any direction she pleased. It was so clumsy, so barbaric. It didn't fit with our philosophies.
Then why did she come here in the first place?
Oh, she's extraordinarily gifted. Even though she's a sorceress, she felt that she could gain by study and the study of academia as well. And I suppose that she was able. She is quite the powerful one, you know, but she never quite did fit around here, even though she was a member of the faculty for some time. You'll find her in her tower off to the west, almost due west, before you hit the mountain range that leads to the deserts. My boy, I'm afraid, as much as I hate to admit it, she could help you much more than I ever could. But remember this, boy. Magic is not meant to be controlled and wrested like some slave. Make it a partner.
Oh, I look at myself. Well, I hope I'm able to control this.
I have something for you. He winks his eye and he points a finger up, and like he has an idea. He says, "I have something that might be of interest to you." And he goes over to another set of invisible shelves, and he withdraws what looks to be a jewelry box that he puts on his desk. And he opens up the jewelry box and then reaches a hand in which is followed by his arm and his elbow clear down to his shoulder into this small jewelry box that is no bigger than 3 inches high.
Jewelry box of gold.
It's a Mary Poppins bag.
It's a Mary Poppins bag, yes. And so, after rummaging around in the box for a moment, he says, yeah, it is. And then he removes from the box a beautiful embroidered sash. No, not quite a sash. It's not quite big enough. It looks more like a headband. And it is a bright blue with gold trim embroidering on it. And he says, "Here you are, my boy. Yes. This should be of a... Look, here's how it works." And then he puts it on his forehead and ties it around his head like a headband. And he says, yes. Now, if you have this tied around your head and fixed in the proper position, it should allow you to control your powers more easily. You've had some failure as of late, have you?
Well,
just putting forth a guess.
Well, there was an incident, but it's an incident I feel awful about and desire to reverse.
You've had an accident, have you?
Yes. I look at my pause in regret.
Tragically, this is the case with many sorcerers that are not discovered at a young age. Were we to discover you early on, we could probably bring you over and to help you to understand your powers, to channel properly. Left uncontrolled, then often there is some wild display of power that causes... Oh, there wasn't much destruction, was there, my boy? Oh, but forgive me, I am prying into your past. I can see you don't wish to tell me.
Probably not. No, not at
Very
this
well,
time.
very well. Keep your past. I'm not one to pry. However, and he unties the headband from his own head. Says, "Here, place this upon your forehead and under behind your head. This will give you some greater control of powers. So hopefully will help you to avoid another such accident in the future, yes?"
Okay. I'll keep that in mind, but thank you very much. I'll...
I apologize, boy. I am not able to help you as much as I would. But I'm afraid that being a sorcerer yourself, this is just not my area of expertise. So, Johnson, yes, would you show the young man out? And so the guard returns into the room and he puts a hand on your shoulder. He says, so are you ready to leave?
I believe so.
All right, so he leads you out of the room through the great double doors once again, which slowly close behind you, and then Johnson hallway and turns to you and he says, "So, he gave you a gift, did he?"
He did, yes. But I'm not sure about this gift.
So he puts up a hand and he says, "May I?"
Go ahead.
So he puts his hand on the headband, and then his eyes close for just, and then he opens again. He says, "Ah, yes. So this should help to avoid any mishaps in the future. This will actually give you a clearer vision of what powers are available to you. I suspect that you've had some frustrating incidents in the past where you've tried to control things and it just hasn't happened the way that you had hoped. Correct me if I'm wrong."
Yes, that is true.
Yes. So as you wear this, know that strong applications of power are likely beyond your control at this point. But if you are able to envision a small application of power, while wearing this headband, you will most likely be able to accomplish it.
If you don't mind me asking, what is your usage of power?
Well, being a guard, I focus more on defensive magic, more into shielding and wards and guardian spells, those kinds of things. I can also summon some lesser animals. So when the opportunity, let me say it this way, when the need arises to guard the artifacts, I'm more than capable of doing so. And then he says, and then he holds up his hands and shows you a bracelet that he wears. He says, "This was also a gift from the headmaster. Using this, I can overcome the anti-magic shell and I can cast my spells normally. I only wear it in my duties as a guard."
Huh. That's interesting.
Did
looks
I
really nice.
Did I hear correctly that you were able to spell in there without the bracelet?
Yeah.
And he actually steps back a little bit from you, and his eyes grow wide. And then he it seems like he's about to say something, but then he stops and he shakes his head and he says, "Okay, follow me." And then there he walks you to another door that you don't recall being there before. And he taps on this door with his fist, and when that door opens, you can see through it the front door of the tower. So this transporter will take you down to the bottom floor. If you simply simply step through, you can avoid going down all of those steps.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
Unfortunately, this is only one way. I'm not sure why the headmaster wanted everyone to climb if there were a transporter, but it's only one way, so I hope you found what you were looking for.
I hope so. Thank you very much. And may Orleana bless you.
And he actually scoffs at that a little bit, and his head goes back. Says, "Oh, you're one of those." And then he quickly corrects himself. "Forgive me." And then he walks through the transport in front of you, and quickly disappears out the front door.
Huh. Alright, well, I try following him out the passageway.
All right, after a brief sense of vertigo, you find yourself on the bottom floor of the tower, and feeling strangely unsatisfied with your visit with the Archmage, you emerge out the front door. Now, if I could
More confused, if anything.
if I could ask the peanut gallery.
Yeah, I kind of noticed this whole thing going on over here.
I don't know who's doing the peanut gallery over here, but I'm gonna try and get rid of this.
It wasn't me, boss.
I blame Foluco.
I blame him too.
I was only part of the problem. I was bored.
Oh.
I was bored.
All right, Samuel quickly rejoins you, Marcus, and he is curious what happened up in the tower.
Well, I ran into another person like me.
The
Archmage? Want to know?
The Archmage? He's like you? He's got a tail like you?
I laugh. Of course. Well, interestingly enough, he's over 600 years old.
And his jaw drops. Samuel's jaw drops, and he just looks at you wordlessly. And he stammers a bit before he finally finds his voice and says, "How could he be that old? He'd be dead like 5 times already."
I chuckle. Well, there's a bit of an interesting part of that.
So that is it one of those long stories that you got to sit through and then you get bored and fall asleep?
Exactly.
Yeah, I always hated those kinds of stories. The big grown-ups always told those big long stories, and they said they were fun and interesting, but it just made me fall asleep.
Yeah. His story kind of made me uneasy, not really well entertained.
You'll have to tell me sometime. But you and then his entire attitude changes. He says, you gotta see this store. You gotta see, and he points over to Mark's shop.
Huh. Interesting.
They got lots of really, really cool stuff in here. And Lucifang said one of these drinks in here I'll grow a tail. But I gotta make sure I drink the right one, or I'll get a fishtail.
Well, you do have to be careful when messing with wizards. I wink my eye at him.
So can you help me find the right one? Because I want a tail like you.
Oh!
Aww.
That's how you know he's gonna become a furry.
Well.
All right.
Yeah.
With that, let's move the action over to Mira and Layla visiting the Temple of Orleana.
Yes, we're gonna go inside.
All right. Mira, you enter the temple with a feeling of awe and This temple is much bigger than the sanctuary that you grew up in. The temple is 3 stories high with a large central chamber and several branches off into smaller areas. Layla stays close by your side, clutching your wrist and almost burying her face in your cloak as she steals glances out at the sorry, I've got a bit of a burp. Sorry. Layla is almost hiding in your cloak as she steals glances around large chambers and looks at the passerby of monk and priest, and even several battle clerics in full armor who are standing in different areas or sitting in prayer or discussing different topics. To your there is one thing that does catch your eye that seems somewhat troubling. In an office just off to the side of the main entrance, you can see there is a group of people inside. There are a number of humans and several elves and even a dwarf inside. And they are discussing in somewhat raised voices. You approach a little bit closer, and you can see that there is a table inside, and on this table there is a map of the continent, and there are drawn in what looks to be like a wax crayon, different colored wax crayons. You can see different areas of the continent sectioned off. Some are in yellow and some are in green. And you can see that they are arguing over the different areas on the map. And some areas have been crossed out and some areas have been redrawn. And you can hear, as you approach, you can hear that they are discussing what appears to be plans for an armed conflict.
Oh.
And this concerns you greatly, and something that you did not expect to hear as you entered the temple. You also discover, as you poke your head toward the doorway, you can see that Father Kearns is also in this room, and he is sitting off to the side of the room. He isn't saying anything, but he is looking around with a little bit of bewilderment on his face, but you can also tell that he is upset by the discussion that's going on. So as you approach the sentence that you hear from rather prominent looking battle cleric who is dressed in armor to the nines, and he is talking about how the Earth Delvers, clearly referring to the followers of Kexoth, the Earth Delvers are gathering their forces. They're forming an army off to the north, and they plan to bring in an armed force into Port Sheridan itself to take over the city and to destroy the temple to Orleana. He is rudely interrupted by another one across the table who says there is no proof that there is an army. They may be just gathering their followers for support of each other. You haven't seen any reports of weapons. You haven't seen any reports of supply chains. There's no way that this could be an army. And the argument continues. You can see that they're trying to. One side is trying to establish that there are dangerous forces gathering, and that it would be better to attack them preemptively than to wait for them to come and attack the city. The other side is begging for peace and for negotiation. But it appears that the side that is for armed conflict appears to be winning the day. And Father Kearns is sitting back. You can tell he's on the side of peace and negotiation and diplomacy. But he is somewhat bewildered because you can tell he's not sure. He's not entirely sure that being on the side of peace and negotiation is really where he should be. So you feel a concern. that this kind of talk is even happening inside the temple.
Yeah. I whisper softly to myself, this is not our way.
So Father Kearns, at this point, he glances over. No one else seems to have noticed you because they're all discussing with each other, rather heated. And Father Kearns, with a look of relief on his face, rises from his seat and comes out of the office. He takes you to the side, out of the doorway, so people inside cannot see you. And he says, he says, "Child, what are you doing here? You weren't meant to see this."
I just look at him really upset, and I just say, I'm not a child.
He bows his head, and then he looks up at you again. He says, "You've been gone from the sanctuary a long time. Forgive me. What would you have me call you now?"
Just Mira.
You would not have me call you sister?
Sister is good too. Sister Mira.
Very well then. I need to see you as the grown cleric that you are. You've been gone long enough, and you've done well enough on your own. But forgive me that old habits die hard.
Okay. So what
I
are they
don't.
saying?
I didn't expect to see this happening here. I knew there was a conflict with the followers of Kexoth, but I didn't know it had advanced this far. Some of them are talking about all-out war. This is a religious conflict. This is a religious disagreement. But people don't need to die over it. I don't understand what is causing so much passion.
I don't either.
Tell me, did you come in contact with any of the Kexoth before you came back to the sanctuary?
A little bit, yes.
What type of people were they? Did they seem like they wanted to be bloodthirsty killers? That's what they're making them out to be in there, and he motions back into the room.
They weren't exactly the nicest. They attacked me and my party members.
They did try to kill you.
Yes.
And then he closes his eyes and sits down on a bench. And he sighs. He said, "Then it's worse than I thought. Are they killers? Or is it just some few that have come out of the woodwork? I suspect there's some darker power here at work. Because it's never been this way in the past. We've always had our disagreements with the other church. But it's never been armed conflict. It's never led to murder. That's not our way."
It shouldn't. I am ashamed to believe that we're thinking this way. This is not how our people are. Not with God.
Well, don't forget that the life mother is also the death mother. She governs who is given to life and who is given to death. And it is true there are times where our kind is called upon to bring that death. But these are rare. These are times that are few and far between, and there's always been a justifiable reason for it. But murder on a scale that they are talking about, the mother could never wish this.
No. I truly think we're being rash.
I'm getting too old for this. I'm not like her. I could, in my day, I could stand on the field and protect and heal, but I'm getting too old for combat. We need someone who is young, who has your energy. Someone needs to go out and someone needs to find out what is behind this conflict, because this has only been going on in the past couple of years. Something has changed in the dynamic between Kexoth and Orleana. Something is driving this conflict. There is a madness to those people in there. And this madness, it cannot come from the Life Mother. And I can't believe it comes from Kexoth either. There's got to be something else going on. Chaos it is.
There's something deeper in the works.
And then his face actually goes ashen for a bit, and his eyes grow wide. And he said, "Do you still have those books that we took from the sanctuary?"
Yes, I do. My party members have them.
There's the compendium on the Lord of Chaos. Let us go. We need to find that book. We need to find out if what I'm thinking is true. If I'm right, this conflict comes from neither the Mother or from Lord Kexoth, but from the Lord of Chaos. How is that possible? He was destroyed. But I can think of no other way. Perhaps his servants still exist in the world? This really concerns me. And then he looks down at Layla, and Layla is actually trembling, and she looks like she is ready to bolt.
I take her hand and try and
So she is almost in tears, but she is got her lips pressed firmly together, and she's looking up at you and still clutching your arm. And she just says one thing. She says, people, we're not gonna kill people, right?
No, I don't want to harm anyone.
And the people, they're not gonna come and kill us?
I won't let that happen to you.
She's not sure she believes you, but she accepts your answer. And then Father Kearns, his look softens quite a bit, and he puts his hand on Layla's shoulder, and he tells her, "Come, young one, I have an idea. It might just save us all." And then with that, he takes your hand, Mira, and he leads you out of the temple. And he says, "Let's go find your party." With that, let us return to our shop. Actually, no. Take that back. Let's move to the fourth bit of action over here. We have
Having a discussion.
Say again?
They were already having a discussion.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm back. What I missed in the last 6
So,
minutes?
Foluco and Sheik, I haven't been paying attention to your discussion. Can you give me a little bit of a recap?
So,
Well, after you tell me what happened in the
seen
Temple
the
of
rare
Orleana.
items, I came up with a plan to possibly pay for them.
Oh, so you're actually going to see if you can purchase the artifacts?
Yes, but in order to acquire the funds, because I'm not even sure if our treasure hold on the ship has enough, I have determined that I need a calligrapher who can manufacture a deed of property owned by my wonderful friend, I mean, enemy of all my life, Mr. Gray, the Foxglove Manor that we raided.
He wants to forge a deed for the manor, sell it off, and then buy the stuff.
Really? So you're going to sell something that you don't own, get enough money to buy this set of artifacts?
Yes.
That's your plan?
That is my.
Also,
You do know that the manor was inhabited by bandits, and it is a state pair. You know that.
Probably not worth much.
technicalities.
Details, nuance.
Minor details. Here's the thing.
Tarek, what
Yes.
This
happened?
whole ship journey away.
What happened the last 5 minutes of the conversation at the temple? Because I wasn't there. I was upstairs.
All right, Foluco. Mira went into the temple, and she was at first she was awed and humbled by all of the wonder and the size and grandiosity of the temple in comparison to the sanctuary where she grew up. But she was quickly attracted to a side office where she heard some passionate arguing going on. Inside there was a table with a map of the continent, and there were priests and monks and battle clerics gathered around this table, and they were drawing on the map different areas in yellow and green, and they were talking about the opposing factions between Kexoth and Orleana. One of the prominent battle clerics was actually discussing, saying that the followers of Kexoth were forming an army, and that they were going to attack Port Sheridan and take it over, and kick out the followers of Orleana. And so he was suggesting that a preemptive strike would keep the city safe, while others were trying to argue for diplomacy and peace. That there was no proof that there was an army, there were no weapons, there were no supply chains. But there is a gathering. There's no telling what it could be. It may be just that the followers of Kexoth are gathering for support. But it seems that those who were calling for armed conflict were winning the day. Father Kearns was in this office. Mira saw him in there, and he looked somewhat bewildered. And he came out of the office when he saw her, and he had this discussion with Mira, talking about how he didn't condone armed conflict. He didn't think that murder was the answer, and he's never seen the followers of Orleana doing this before. Even though Orleana is the life mother and the devil, murder on this kind of scale is not the way. And so he's very concerned. And so he asked Mira if she had ever met any Kex. She explained to him that the only ones that she's encountered have tried to kill the party. And so Father Kearns is saying that, so he says there is some sort of force here. He suspects that something dark is causing this madness. And then he said the word chaos, and he realized and said, oh, wait a minute. The Lord of Chaos has been destroyed, but his influence may still be going on in this world somehow. So he wanted her to lead him back to the party to get that tome that the party collected from the sanctuary about the Lord of Chaos.
In my book.
So Mira is leading him back to the party. Mira and Layla and Father Kearns are on their way back to the party to try and find them so that they can get the book and take a look at it.
My book.
Then the action has moved back to you, Foluco. So are you the one carrying that book?
Yes, I'm the one carrying that book.
Okay. So you are discussing with Sheik how to get your hands on this set of artifacts.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yep. See, I'm figuring that if we find a young calligraphy student here who's a little down on his luck money-wise, we might be able to convince him to forge us the deed. And I'm sure that Mr. Graves won't mind losing that bit of land.
Well, it would be posthumously.
Well, I don't have to tell the people buying it that.
Okay. I'm going to ask Sheik, what is your bluff skill at?
Probably not that high. That's why I'm
Because
having somebody else do the forging.
Yeah, you better pray for a miracle here because you're going to have quite a few bluff rolls if you're going to pull this off.
I've got
I
a
might need
1.
somebody else to bluff me or bless me or something before I do this.
I've got a 1.
By the way, you heard about that Cape of the Diplomat? Oh, Sheik, you didn't hear about that, did you?
No.
Yes, you remember the big blue, this royal blue cape that you found in the mine.
You're right. And
It is.
currently,
It is
Renji
the,
had it.
yes, Ranji has it. It is the Cape of the Diplomat. What it does is it gives you a bonus on diplomacy, intimidate, and bluff checks.
You know what? I'm going to snag that from Renji before this goes.
So I just wanted to remind you of that because it will probably help you along.
All right. So, first
Foluco.
things.
Yeah, go ahead, Sheik.
I'm going to do a spot check and see if I can find any of these calligraphy students down on who fits my specifications.
A calligraphy student in a library.
What better place to practice your calligraphy than in a place where all books are properly transcribed by hand?
You are here at the Sheridan Academy. Finding a student of calligraphy probably wouldn't be all that difficult. No. But keep in mind, these are students. They're surrounded by faculty, and singling one out and finding out if he is willing to do this, and then finding out that he's not willing and in fact wants to report you, that's a definite possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind.
All right, then first I'm going to run off. I'm going to run off and grab that cloak from Renji while Loco does his thing for why he was at the library.
Renji is actually unwilling to part with it.
Well, I was actually just about to say to Sheik, he could actually just say that it's some kind of thing that could earn the student extra money, rather than divulging the fact that it's actually something illegal.
So, possible low bluff check requirements versus possible high bluff check.
Indeed.
Yes.
All right, let's see how good of a liar I am first.
All right. I don't know if Foluco, I don't know if you plan to discuss your research.
He asked me what I was doing in the library, and I told him, or rather, he asked me what I learned. And I said, yeah, apparently our friendly neighborhood vigilante, Duncan, is a vampire hunter. And that's all I said.
All right, there goes my phone again. One moment. I think it's, yeah, my wife is calling. Just a moment.
true. You could say that you're
You could say you're the
his
owner,
long-lost
and
cousin.
you could say you're the owner, or the owner's brother, and the owner was killed, which is true, by invaders, and that the manor is in disrepair because of it.
How fast does news travel?
As fast as people walk.
And
But
here's the other question. I don't think I was here for this. How did he die?
Oh,
How
Renji
did
backstabbed him.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yeah, Renji backstabbed him and we buried him in the ground outside the manor. Or I did.
Okay, so nobody knows that he's actually dead.
Correct?
Well, if nobody knows that he's actually dead, then perfect.
All right, I'm back, guys.
Hi.
Okay. So, Sheik, you are going to try and track down a student of calligraphy that could forge this for you.
Yep.
All right, and you were not able to get the cape from Renji just yet. He's not willing to give it up.
I'm gonna need that more to convince the officials that I own the land than I need to convince the students to do a bit of homework for me.
You could just pickpocket him.
All right. I will tell you, it is getting on into the early evening, and so at this point, you can see that most of the students have either returned to dormitories or they have gotten together with friends to go into town for evening activities. You can see there are several faculty around, and the library is beginning to clear out.
You know, maybe I'll try to see if one of them's a good calligrapher and catch them drunk.
Capture the what?
Find one of these young gentlemen out at a bar, drunk, and
Oh,
perhaps,
drunk. All right.
perhaps get them to agree to a job.
And then
in
forge it when they're
easier
sober. Convince
I just
them.
have to make them think while they're drunk.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
that's my plan.
Okay.
So, let me
Just
see.
be careful to not get drunk yourself.
So buttons.
Indeed. All right. So, asking around, you are able to discover that there is a seedy sounding but nearby tavern that you will find in this area here. Okay.
Does it happen to be the tavern that we stayed in earlier?
Nope. That's the Salty Dolphin. That's down here.
That's down there. You're right. Okay. Well, tavern frequented by. I'm gonna start heading down there. So let's see what Filoko is doing in the library in the meantime.
All right. We get there. It is. No. crunchy spider, really?
Well, the other one was a salty dolphin.
Yes. Crunchy spider. All right. Sheik.
All right.
You, surprisingly, are joined by Renji in the Bottoms Up Tavern.
I bet I can get him drunk enough to let me have the cape.
Perhaps. All right. It is now evening, approximately 8 in the evening, early evening. Let us return once again to Mortimer's shop.
Okay.
All right. Marcus and Loosefang and Samuel are in Mortimer's shop. And Loosefang, let me go back and see what you wrote as a response. Ah.
Yeah. Well, I shrug at the new gift I have and put on the bandana, or wrap the bandana around my head.
Okay. As you do so, your eyes unfocus for just a brief moment, and then they focus once again. That was it is somewhat disorienting, and you catch your balance, but after a moment, the feeling passes.
Wow.
Okay.
Everything okay over there, Marcus?
You are now wearing a bandana of. Well,
Sorry,
if you want to mark a bandana of clear thought.
A bandana of clear thought.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, headband, bandana. Yeah, let's say headband.
Okay.
Headband of clear thought. You want to mark that onto your character sheet.
All right. Where would I put it? Under equipment?
It would be, yeah. Let me take a look. Yes. That would be under magic items.
Okay.
I have put it there.
Oh, okay. So you're the one that's putting it there.
All right. So
what's with that
can you
bandana
see
there?
can you see the effects that I added there in your on your character sheet?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That works.
So it gives you a +4 on your random casting checks. So if you're trying to cast a random ice ability, when you're rolling your d20, that also any mind altering effects, it gives you a +4 will saving throw.
Nice.
As long as you're wearing it.
All right.
That's cool.
That will definitely be helpful later on.
Indeed.
So.
Hold on, I'm communicating with Loosefang here.
Oh, it's all good.
Do you put holes in the you don't. I'm thinking you do. Ow!
Yes.
That's
Well,
right. The reason I don't like this stuff, well, look at some potato.
All right.
My feelings. So I'll just do some more.
Yeah. They're guys. They're telling me that we've got background noise. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, Loose Fang,
Yes.
Mortimer returns to you and mentions. He said that were you interested in. By the way, Mira, if you want to, you and Layla, you're welcome to do so.
Okay. Hmm.
And Tyrek, when you last spoke to me, it cut out here all.
Okay.
Mortimer came to talk.
What were we talking about?
I think he was asking about the staff.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you're willing to go ahead and Loose Fang.
Alrighty, well, I've reached in the bag and I pulled out a little something, kind of chewing on it, and I'm walking around. I don't.
Mortimer asks, what else might you have been interested in?
Oh, I don't know. I'm here. I don't know if I necessarily need this staff right. It seems mighty nice. I'm sure the student worked excellent, but that is a bit pricey. So I might have to hold off on it, save up.
Very well. Not as your friend there seems to have run into quite a bit of wealth. I assume he wasn't sharing with his companions.
Oh, well, he shares when he needs.
Yeah, he's not necessarily the sharative, or I guess the sharing type, I guess you could say.
Should I be concerned?
Oh, no, it's mostly just is not the most freely giving of his work. He's totally fine with purchase, but he prefers to have plenty of funds too, and you don't acquire funds given.
I see. More somewhat of a miserly type, I suppose.
Somewhat, you might say, yeah. I kind of trip and fall against Marcus as I'm wandering. Oops, I think is everything okay? I didn't knock over it.
Well, you actually do fall into one of these shelves, and you can hear a clinking of bottles, but nothing falls off the shelf. Mortimer looks momentarily worried, but then he helps you to your feet.
Oh, thank you. I kind of pause, talk. Uh-oh. And I reach down and I grab a hold of Marcus' tail. I think I might have dropped my...
Dropped your what?
My gum. It's a bit of chewing. Just something to...
Wait, you dropped it on Marcus's tail?
Don't... I can get it. Someone got like a knife or something, I can just cut it out of there.
That's like super sticky, dude.
I look at him like, what the heck did you do?
I'll get it out. Don't worry. little scissors or a knife or something, I can cut
Wait,
it right
wait, you're
out.
gonna cut off his to get gum out of it?
Why
Just a
the
small
heck did I go
patch
to
of-
the library? I'm missing that.
A little soda will get it out.
We don't have it.
All
Oh,
right.
well,
And anybody got a
um,
knife, scissors?
I think I know what Loose Fang's trying to do here.
What?
Prevent you from getting sticky gum anyway.
Well, there might be another reasoning why. I wink
Okay,
over at Samuel.
Marcus, make a sense motive check.
Sense motive check. All right, give me a second. Sense motive. Sense motive. Sense motive. Holy crap! I lost where it's at.
It's on your skill list.
Oh, okay. One second. Load. Sense motive. There it is.
Yep, there it is.
There we go.
Yep. All right. You do not suspect that Loose Fang is up to anything funny.
Well, okay, then I guess I'm speaking out of character, but I think I might know what he's talking about.
All right.
What he's doing.
You as a player may know, but
Yeah,
Marcus,
my
the
character probably
character, does not suspect. All he sees is there is something sticky stuck in his tail.
Yep.
Nathan.
All right.
Okay, so
all I need is a little knife, and I can get that out of there, no problem.
so
Shouldn't take
Mortimer
Out of it
Mortimer
either.
actually produces an intricate looking blade
Whoa.
that surprises you that he would be carrying something like this, and he looks at you with your concern, and he says, "Oh no, this is actually it's used for alchemy. It is for carving alchemical ingredients and chopping them up into fine particles."
I don't
Don't-
doubt it.
So I'll be delicate. If you please, sir, I can cut this out most discreetly. He's asking your permission, Marcus.
Well, do what you must.
All right. So he actually takes a tuft of fur on your tail and with very practiced motion cuts off a tuft of fur in a swipe. After which he returns the small blade to an inner pocket in his shirt. All right. Then he holds the tuft of fur in his hand and he actually shows us and he said, "It'll grow back.
Yeah, I know it'll grow back.
Your tail's gonna look a little funny for."
Yeah.
Nah. If I know Marcus, that hair will grow back by tomorrow morning. My tail will, all the hair on that will fall out just do.
Oh boy.
Yep.
All
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Now it's everywhere.
Fuzzy Wuzzy has no hair.
Fuzzy Wuzzy was a giant bear
Fuzzy
that
Wuzzy
covered.
wasn't really fuzzy.
Was he? All right. So Mortimer excuses himself and returns to his alchemy desk.
So what'd you find out, Marcus? What's up with that head?
This was a gift.
Quite fashion. Good.
Well, thank you. I say, well, I do think it looks quite fine on me myself. Still a little bit interested about what it actually entails or does, but speaking in character. But hopefully it'll be useful later down the road.
All right, you actually you're interrupted by a loud popping sound coming from the alchemy, followed by a puff of blue smoke that grows thicker and thicker and envelops his head briefly.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And he
What's
he
this?
actually he stands
normal?
upright and shakes his head and waves away the smoke. And then he blinks his eyes a little bit, and then he actually brushes a few flecks of powder off of his face, and then he says, "That was a little more dramatic than expected. I haven't done this one in quite some time, but I have a surprise for you. This is my blue raspberry ripple juice." And he presents it proudly to Samuel.
Ooh. Sounds
Would you care to
tasty.
try some? All right. And then so Samuel, he actually kind of backs away a little bit, and he says, berry juice isn't supposed to smoke like that.
Depends on how fast you.
And so
Yeah.
Mortimer looks down at him and blinks his eyes a bit, and then he looks up at Marcus, and he looks over at Loose Fang, and he says, "Okay, there's no fooling this little guy, is there?
Depends.
Let me tell you the truth, son. It does taste like berry, but it's not juice. This is something that will grant you your wish." And Samuel, actually, his eyes grow wide, and he say, "Wait, I get to make a wish?" And Mortimer says, "Well, in a way, you already made the wish." And then Samuel looks really confused. And so Mortimer says, "Here, son, I promise you'll like it. Just try it, and we'll see what happens." And then Samuel is still pretty hesitant, but Mortimer holds the vial out to him, and Samuel looks up at Marcus for approval.
Oh, I nod my head. It's okay.
So,
I say I nod my head.
Nathan, that's really sour. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not you,
No
Nathan.
sour.
There's too many Nathans.
Here,
I'm
Christian.
not reading this book because it says, "Do not read this chapter right before going to bed."
Okay.
Ah, children!
Yes. We have children. Yes. That's, it kind of comes with being a parent. You become a parent, and the first thing you know, you have,
Small people start feeling
No. That wasn't apparent to me.
Oh, you're bad, Mira. You're bad.
I know. I should be a bard.
Just like Loose Fang, right?
Yep. I mean, when the Archmage saw, I was like, rough. Because
All right.
he said dog.
So, Mira, you come upon the scene, and you see Loose Fang and Marcus and a large dragonborn standing around Samuel just outside the door to a wondrous-looking shop as you and Layla and Father Kirk approach. As you approach, you see Samuel reluctantly drinking the contents of a bottle with blue liquid inside. And
This can't be good.
well, no. Immediately, Samuel he looks sick, and he he tries to give the bottle back to Mortimer, but actually drops it. Mortimer has to catch it before it hits the ground. And Samuel leans against you, Marcus, for a bit. And then he says, I don't feel good. What was
I look at him and said,
he was right. It tastes like berry, but it doesn't feel good inside.
Oh my.
And then he kind of bends over and he says, ow, that hurts. And you can see that he is very uncomfortable. And he kind of runs into the shop.
You okay there? Oh, yeah.
All right. As he disappears around what sounds like the ripping of cloth.
Oh.
Oh no.
And he turns into the Hulk. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know if I want to
Oh
go
my.
in.
Oh no.
Snap smash!
No, he's not turning into the Hulk.
Hard. Biggest plot twist ever.
No. So anyway, when he emerges once again, you can see that his trousers are torn. And he is rather embarrassed and holding his trousers against the back of his legs, trying to keep them from falling down. And he says, I ripped my pants. And then he turns around to show you, and you can see that he now has a rather bushy looking tail, just like a German Shepherd.
Wow, and I thought my parts were deadly.
He doesn't seem to have noticed it yet. He is still trying to hold his pants together.
Oh.
That is some very odd flatulence you have there, sir.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Luke, go away.
Oh, Luca. Oh gosh.
That one episode of SpongeBob where he ripped his pants.
Where what?
Where SpongeBob ripped his pants.
How do you rip square pants?
The iconic episode where he ripped his pants and then said,
At right angle.
But the pain feels so much.
So Samuel, he finally turns his head to look at the back of his pants and actually drops his hold on his pants for just a moment, and he has to reach down and grab them before they fall. But then he looks at his newfound tail, and then he looks up at you, Marcus, and then he gets a very childish grin. And then he starts kind of jumping around while holding onto his pants so they don't fall down.
Congratulations, you made a Nico.
Oh my.
No, it's not a Neko. Come on.
So Loose Fang takes off his shirt, ties it around Samuel's waist so that he doesn't have to keep holding the tattered pants.
And so you fashion a makeshift belt for his trousers so they don't fall down anymore. And then and so Samuel all this time is now craning his neck around to the back and sitting there and holding and petting his newfound excitement.
It's every furry's dream.
Oh my.
So he said, look, now I can be like you. Now I can be like you.
I just stand there like, that's great.
So Mira, you and Father Kearns have come upon this scene, and you're not sure how to take this all in. And Father Kearns just kind of shakes his head for a moment, and he grumbles something under his breath about arcane magic, uncontrolled arcane magic, and then decides to drop the issue and turns to both Marcus and Loosefang, and he says, Do either of you have the books that we recovered from the sanctuary?
I don't think.
Didn't we leave those on the ship?
Surely we must have brought some of them on shore.
I think I remember Renji and not Lucian,
Oh,
Peak taking them. 'Cause
yeah,
they
I don't have those.
So
Yeah, I believe we don't have those books.
Sorry.
there is a tome on the Lord of Chaos. I need to find that book. I need to find if my suspicions are true.
Oh my.
Where
Well,
is the rest of the group?
That's a question.
That is indeed a good question.
Well, it's getting dark. We probably ought to head back to the tavern.
Yeah, are we gonna be staying at the one we've been staying?
Well, that rather green-looking guy, he was somewhat unpleasant, but the place was quite clean and the food was good, so I don't see why not.
I imagine it is rather hard to find a nice clean place to stay. That's got to count for something.
Well, I'll tell you, it's nothing like being ran back in Gurney Bay, but it was suitable. So, if we don't know where the rest of the group is, then I suppose the only thing is to go back to the tavern and wait for them to show up.
That's kind of what I'm.
Very well then. And he makes his way down the street. Yeah. So, making.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's
Sorry.
do.
How dark is
Well, it is about 8:30 in the evening, and so there are street lamps along the roads, but it is pretty dark out, and so while you are close to the city center, in fact, you can see above the roofs to the southwest, you can see the Coliseum, the arena that is in city center. It is the only building that is still standing from the time when goblins owned this area. You don't know, you're not familiar with the city street, so you don't know if going through that way will lead back to the Salty Dolphin. If you want to go back the way you came, then you can head straight west through the crafting district.
I think we should be okay. It kind of advised.
Well, we might want to get some new pants or new custom-made pants now for Samuel. Going through the crafting district might be beneficial for that.
True. Though I'm pretty handy with needle and thread. I'm sure I could come up some proper trousers.
At least you can mend them.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Probably save you a bit of coin.
Indeed.
All right, so which way do you guys want? Father Kearns is on his way down the street toward the crafting district, but you guys can still catch him if you're quick.
I'm gonna follow him.
All right.
Well, if
You
they're
coming
gonna head
here?
that way, I decide I'm gonna head this way. Just
So
to,
you're going to go check out the arena?
maybe not actually go inside of it. I don't know if I've got for it, but I could check.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah. Keep Layla with you, Mira.
I will.
Or someone
right.
else.
Yeah. I'm gonna
So-
keep Samuel a little bit close to me, knowing that some people here aren't really too kind to it, the raised,
I'll
if
put
you know
my
what I mean.
mask and my cloak back on.
It is dark, and while the crafting district is still, some of the booths are still running, and you can see some of the forges are still lit. You can see that it is not as well, not as busy as it was during the day, and you can see that some are closing down their booths and their stalls. Meanwhile, Loose Fang,
Yep.
wandering the streets on your own, you approach the great Colosseum of Port Sheridan. Let me reveal the area.
That was great.
All right. This is an old building, and it is remarkably well preserved. From what you can tell, it must be more than 100 years old. It is a large circular area, and you can't see into it, but you suspect it is a stadium, coliseum type of edifice. There are on each of the 8 cardinal directions there is a main gate to enter the Colosseum. So north, northwest, east, and all the way around on each of the 8 cardinal directions. There is a large entranceway, leads into a tunnel.
Are they locked?
No, actually, there are. The arena is not in use this evening, but this is used as a training ground. From what you heard previously, this is used as a training ground for a group of martial artists that are in town. The arena itself is not used for big events anymore. It once was, but it's being 100 years old and being constructed by orcs and goblins. There is a movement within the city to actually dismantle it, which hasn't taken hold quite yet. But there is a petition in the government to try and raise the Colosseum. Of course, this is being resisted by the local monk group who is training here. You do not see anyone, but the entrances are not they're not covered by gates or fences or anything. You can walk right in if you wished.
I kind of shrug and say, why not? I head on it.
All right, you have gone in the northeast entrance, and the light quickly disappears behind you as you go into a large tunnel that comes to a T intersection, branches to the left and right. The light behind you is from the street lamps, and ahead of you, these passages to the left and right, they are completely dark.
Spook.
Sorry, what was that?
I just said spook.
So are you going to continue?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, which way are you going to go, left or right?
And choose the right.
When the choice is placed before you, choose the right?
Yep.
That's what he said. He said choose the right.
Right.
Exactly.
Indeed.
All right.
Best
So-
choice ever.
Best choice ever. Choose the right.
Yeah.
So you walk to the right, placing a paw on the right side wall to guide yourself as your low light vision begins to kick in. When your eyes adjust, you can see about 20 feet ahead of you and 20 feet behind you, but that's all. You can see that this is a stone corridor that is rough cut, and you can see about 15 feet ahead of you, there is a set of stairs that leads up to your right, and then on the left, there is a grating. It looks like a gate or a grating or a cage of some sort. You can't tell in the darkness. and then the passageway continues on ahead of you.
I'll go check out the.
Okay, you're gonna look at the grating.
Yeah, just see if I get closer, notice low light.
Yep. So you can see this is at the base of a stairway on the other side of a hall stairs. And as you get closer, you can feel and see that it is made of wrought iron. It looks like it's rough cut rebar that has been put together in a cross pattern to make a grating. And you can see that it is on hinges. So it must be a door of some sort, but it doesn't move because as you pull at it, you can hear that there is some latching mechanism. But it's in either a handle or a lock or some sort of a latch that's keeping it closed.
Okay.
Now I need Loose Fang. I need you to give me a listen check.
Coming up.
Okay, Loose Fang, you didn't hear anything.
Okie dokie.
You do hear that as you pull on the grating, the hinges do not squeak, which seems odd if this is something that was built 100 years ago.
That's
However,
my
say that again.
I was just saying that's my thing. One must be upkeeping.
Yep. So, but you can also tell that the grate is locked or latched, and you can't feeling around. You don't feel a doorknob or latch or anywhere to open it.
Well, that's true.
So you do feel what could be a lock mechanism, but you can't tell.
Might just have to come back to this.
All right.
I'll head back and then head up.
Okay, so you're going to exit.
Yeah.
Okay. You put your left paw back on that wall, and you feel your way back to the main tunnel when light again meets your eyes from the street lamp side, and you emerge on the northeast of the arena. Meanwhile, Father Kearns is leading the group. Oh, wait a minute. Why do I keep making circles? I'm not trying to make circles.
I actually want to go back to Rusty's because I told him I would see about coming back in the evening.
Oh, you want to go back to Rusty?
Yeah.
So you're going to mention this to Father Kearns? Wait, I don't know why this is happening, but it's still making circles. Oh, no, it stopped. Okay. So you're going to mention that? You're going to mention that to Father that you want to go back to Rusty's?
Yeah.
All right. So he says, well, I don't know where Rusty's is. Can you, oh, it's so noisy over there. Let's avoid this place.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to get students.
Yeah. So Father Kearns is turning up his nose in disgust at the raucous noise coming out of the Bottoms Up Tavern and quickly walks past it.
I then start walking towards Rusty.
So, okay. Rusty's Cobbler Shop. You can, as you approach, you can see that the door is closed, and the shop, it appears to be closed for the night, but there are lights on inside the shop.
I gently knock on the door.
All right. After knocking a little bit, you do not hear any response. So let's see. Marcus and Mira, can you give me listen checks?
Mm-hmm.
Loose Fang. Oh, I see where you went.
Where did I go?
You
I
went
didn't move myself.
over there.
I didn't
Yeah,
move
Loose
myself there.
Loose Fang was visiting the arena area.
Yeah.
And my favorite
Okay.
dock worker is still down here.
So Loose Fang, you're not nearby. Listen check. Oh no, that's your previous listen check, wasn't it? Okay. Yes. Mira, listen check. I need Marcus. I need a.
You need me to do a listen check?
Yeah, you're there with them.
Oh, okay. Give me a second.
There is some noise coming from across the street at the Bottoms Up Tavern.
Listen check.
Oh, nice one, Marcus. All right. Marcus, you and only you can hear footsteps on top of the roof of Rusty's shop. And then you can hear a small clink and whine of machine.
What the heck is that? I say, it sounds like machinery. Up on top of the roof.
So, Samuel and Layla, they stand back and they actually look up, and Father Kearns takes a step back and looks up onto the roof.
I put my hand in front of Layla and Samuel.
And Father Kearns, he calls back over to you and he says, "Oh, someone's up there with a telescope.
Oh.
A crude invention. My scrying glass works much better, but something like that, then a telescope will work just fine." And then Rusty, his bulbous nose and curled mustache appear over the rooftop, and he looks down at you, and he looks around until he sees Mira, and he says, "Ah, lassie, you've returned. Please come on up, please, please, please." "Oh, yes, 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 yes. Let me open the door for you. Just one moment." And then he turns around behind him, and he starts turning an enormous crank that is on top of his roof. And you can see before your eyes, his front door slides open. And then when he turns around, he turns back to you, he says, "Yes, yes, yes, in immediately to your left, up 2 flights of stairs, and then through the door. You'll come out on the..."
Okay. I head up to the roof.
"I'm afraid I'll only be able to allow 2 of you up here at a time. Safety, you know. This house is made for a gnome, not for people."
Not for
So
what?
Mira, who else wants to go up and look through the telescope?
I motioned to Samuel and Layla. You guys want to go up and look through the telescope?
Layla is not going anywhere without Mira.
Oh!
So you walked up the stairs and you back to see that she followed you dutifully up the steps.
Oh, it's my little shadow.
But immediately on coming onto the roof, taller than she is, and she sees a wondrous looking device. It is, you think it's a telescope, but it doesn't look like any telescope you've ever seen, because the bottom lens and the bottom telescoping pipe lead to a junction where it bends at a very odd degree and points almost straight up, where it bends again at a very odd degree, and you see several of these kinks and bends as finally, it ends in a very large lens that is probably 3 feet across, pointed almost straight up into the sky. From what you've seen of telescopes, before, you can't see any possible way that this could work. But you don't have all that much experience with gnomish inventions, and so you keep that to yourself.
Dude.
Rusty motions to the two of you, and he says, "Come, take a look, take a look."
I take a look through the telescope.
You place your eye upon the focusing lens, and you are greeted by an enormous vision of what looks to be a crater. And you immediately pull your eye away and look up into the sky, and you see the two moons in the sky. And then you look again, and you can see a very close-up view of the surface of the moon. And you are amazed at the resolution and how close he is able to get. And then Rusty looks at you expectantly, and what do you think, Glass?
It's amazing.
And he claps and he hops up and down and delighted. "Oh, you do like it, you do like it. I made it myself, you know. I'm not just a shoemaker. I practice a little bit of this on the side."
It's incredible.
You see, you can almost see the little men that live up there. If you look closely, sometimes you can actually see them moving about.
Okay. I turn to Leela and I gesture.
So Layla, with a sense of
Squeaks.
wonder,
Sir Squeaks, what are you doing?
oh my, Rusty suddenly sees a large dire bat flying around the house, and he stops what he's doing, and he reaches into his pocket and removes a strange-looking device from his pocket. And he looks up and he says, "Oh, back where you came from. No, you don't belong here." And he points the device at Sir Squeaks.
Sir
I'm
Squeaks.
warning you. I will shoot.
Hey, Sir Squeaks, I think it's best if you get over back to Fuluko. So you don't scare people.
Crazy creatures flying through the night, always getting in the way of my telescope. That's a rather big one, isn't it?
Could just be the telescope.
No, I meant the bat.
Well, that's what they do. They make things look big.
And then he thinks that to himself for a bit. He mulls that over, but doesn't respond. So Layla, on the other hand, didn't even notice the giant bat flying around the house, and actually has been looking with wonder through this telescope. She stands transfixed, looking through the focusing lens, and her mouth is dropped open, and she's just looking in wonder. And then she steps away, and then she looks up, and then she looks over at Rusty, and she says, "But it's white. I didn't see any green. Where are the green?" Meanwhile, Loose Fang.
Yes.
You turn a corner, and you come face to face with that same horse who has been wandering this area.
Oh,
Kimberly,
good
do you
evening.
need some help? Here, let me get out of your way. I'm sorry. Yeah, my wife is trying to put dishes away. Just a moment.
You're fine. Take it.
But this is important.
But putting dishes away is very important. I agree.
Yep. We can wait.
Unlike me, who has so much trash in my room that I filled up with trash bags. Oops.
All right. Loose Fang, you
Yep.
see a couple of blocks down this street, what must be that same horse that you this. He is, despite the late night, he doesn't seem to be slowing down at all, and he's walking his rounds. And as before, still dressed in shining plate barding, with no saddle. And as you approach, you see something that you didn't notice before. There is a large metal shield that is hanging in a slot on the right side of his armor. And you can't conceive of any way that shield must belong to his rider. But curiously, since this horse has no saddle, you have no idea how any rider would mount him.
Good evening, fella. How goes your day? I say as I approach the horse.
So he stops what he's doing, and he eyes you carefully and looks you up and down. And then he tosses his mane a bit and steps aside to let you pass.
Oh no, you're fine. I might head the other way just to do a bit more exploring. Even that's all right.
He actually comes around you and turns and kind of nudges you to the tavern.
I see how it is. Right. Well, don't want to upset the order or stuff. Well, you have a good evening.
With that, he turns and walks down that street once again.
Then I sneak back that way. Follow.
You're gonna follow him?
Sneakily.
Okay, then I need you to. Are you gonna try and move silently?
Sir Squeaks, are you
We'll
silent?
see.
You really want him to roll a move silently? Do you know what his passive move silently score is?
No, I'm talking about Loose Fang.
Oh. I
Gotta
thought
be quiet, Sir
Sir
Squeak.
Squeaks was following the horse. That's what I was thinking.
Okay.
Follow.
I'll just let you know. Sir Squeaks' passive move silently is a 17.
Yes.
At his very minimum, he will pass a move silently.
Yeah, if he gets a nat 20 on move silently, it's going to be a 27. Is that correct?
A 37.
A 37.
Nice.
Now the passive move silently is 10 plus your move silently score.
Oh, which is a 27.
So his passive move silently is 27.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Passive is 27. So if he gets a critical 20, it's 37.
Yeah. So Loose Fang, your move silently check utterly fails.
Sir
And
Squeak, you gotta be hey, giving away my position.
the horse once again turns around and looks at you and eyes you up and down.
Wow.
And this time
I look at him
does not take his eyes off.
Oh boy.
He actually approaches you slowly, and
oh boy, here
and then
comes Maximus.
yeah.
Have you seen my twin brother around here? He just came by.
I think that's going to require a bluff check.
Yeah, give me a bluff check, Loose Fang.
Coming up.
my gosh.
Oh!
Okay, just a minute.
He wins that one. Oh, Tarek, he wins that
Nat
one.
20 bluff.
Okay, hold on for a second.
Remember how Renji tried to do bluff check with the horse and ended up still losing?
Hold on.
Well, we nat 20 the horse.
Yeah, Renji kind of nat
My
20'd it as
my
well,
son
but still.
my son rolled the dice for a sense motive check, but I'm going to tell you. There it is.
Yep.
Oh,
That's fair.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, bud.
I'm not one for deception.
Actually, that was an excellent attempt, but he kind of overpowered it.
Hey, Loose Fang, can I give you a fancy-looking cape and have you accompany me to some of the county courthouse offices later?
Well, I currently don't have a shirt, so a cape might
So-
look even regal.
So the horse actually lifts a hoof and places it gently on your chest,
Oh, man.
and then looks you in the eye, and then huffs a bit, and then puts his hoof back down, and then continues looking straight at.
I reach up, put a paw on his chest. I look at him in the eye, and I say, "This was a magical moment we had together, but it can't last. I must go."
Hey,
All right.
only bards can seduce animals.
And
At this moment, hold on, Loose Fang, before you leave. Before
Sure.
you leave. At this moment, he rears his head back, and you hear words clear as day coming from his mouth. I'll be having none of that, you.
Remember, we're in a town where this guy used a potion to give somebody else a dog tail. Why not somebody that can turn it into a horse?
well, I can't say I'm surprised. You're not the first that said nay to me.
Gosh.
not the first person that said nay to me.
There'll be no funny business. I'm patrolling the streets here,
And you're doing a mighty fine job. Keep it
and
up.
I'll be warning you that these streets at night are not safe for the likes of you.
Oh, they're plenty safe. Got a mighty protector too.
Listen closely, sir. I'm not knowing who you are or where you're from, but I'm telling you, there are people out on the streets at night that are no good.
Well, I sleep just fine knowing that you're out patrolling and protecting. Besides, I'm kind of slippery. If someone comes after me,
Daddy,
I might look brave, but I can run like.
I have been catching.
I'll tell you this. You see any shady figures hiding out in the alleyways or at corners, you be sure and you come and tell me.
Will do. I imagine you'll be on regular patrol.
Now, go on and get yourself to safety.
Thank you kindly. Oh, by the way, what?
You're gonna have to say
I'm
that
sorry, you
again.
broke up. What was that?
What is your name? Mine's Loose Fang.
You can call me Duncan.
Dunk.
Are you
Thank you very much, Dunk.
serious?
You have yourself a good night.
And he walks off down the street.
And I head off this way.
Okay. Now, so his. Okay. Yep, I'm working on it. Just a second. Now I will roll it here, Nathan. Don't you roll it. Don't you roll it. Okay. No, that's his spot check.
Okay.
So he does not notice Sir Squeaks. All right. Moving the action. All right. So I need Marcus and Mira. I need you guys to give me spot and listen checks.
Okay.
Okay. Oops.
Vigilante. is a horse.
Oh, Marcus, you're doing excellent this evening. Mira? Oh my gosh, Marcus. Whoop. Dang, it's those canine eyes and ears. I don't know, Mira, you just can't match them tonight.
Well, technically, foxes are canine.
Vulpine.
Volpine.
Well, Vulpin is a subspecies of canine, but tomato.
I resemble that remark.
You resemble
Anyway.
that remark? Okay,
Yes.
whatever. Wrong word, but okay.
It was on purpose, yes. There we go. To the south, several blocks to the south, you can see a small gathering. Oh, hush. Small gathering of people huddled around and talking in voices.
Let's see.
Loose thing. Roll a spot check.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, you need to see if you can spot these guys, Loose Fing.
And listen.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Listen.
Spot, you got it. Listen to see if you can hear what's going on. All right. You can't hear what they're talking about, but you can definitely see them. Marcus, you also can definitely see them. Mira, you and Layla are too busy looking at the telescope and listening to Rusty. But Marcus, you can see, you actually see the three of them furtively duck around the corner of the warehouse to the south of you. So Marcus, you're actually standing next to the flea market, but there is a small, narrow way that you can go between the shops and the buildings to the west to get to where this group disappeared around the corner.
Question. Sir Squeaks, being high up, can he roll a spot check?
Okay.
He is a little too far away at this point. He's across town.
Okay.
I motion to Samuel to stay with Father Kearns, and then I start sneaking over this way.
So Samuel is rather concerned, but he obeys. So Marcus, are you going to let Mira know, or she's up on the roof? It may be too loud to try and call.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a move silently.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Marcus, you are just doing the cheeky chic thing tonight. Woo!
Oh yes, there we go.
If you need me, I'm in the tavern next door.
He doesn't know that, and you don't know that he's there. So.
Nope, I don't.
Yep.
All right. So the three men are involved in their own conversation. They don't notice you approach. Loosefang, are you just going to watch from there, or are you going to try and approach?
I'm gonna do a
I guess I could move up.
check.
Okay, I need, Loosefang, if you're going to try and move silently, I need a move silently check for you. I'm going to roll a spot check for these three.
I think we've established Loose Fang is not a quiet person.
Probably not. Oh no. Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Senses are tingling.
Okay. Loosefang, as you approach, the three of them stop their conversation and turn to you. They have not moved, but They are watching you intently. Marcus, this is to your advantage because you don't think they have noticed you.
I'm gonna try my hand at bluffing and just make it look like I'm looking at the different vendor stalls.
The empty vendor stalls in the flea market in the middle of the night. Well, like
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night.
I'm
So
gonna
give me a
radiate
bluff
ice
check.
bolt.
Just
That's
that's a
balance,
balance,
not
yeah.
bluff.
oh, is that not? Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, oops. Scroll
If
down.
you were trying to, walk on the rooftops or trying to, do some parkour, then yeah, balance would work. I'm afraid that that's not going to work, Loose Fang.
Is anyone really surprised though?
So, as you watch, one of them casually walks between the warehouses
Oh,
off into the
dang it.
darkness,
Shoot.
while one of them walks past you down that street, and the other one,
As they go by, I say, "Watch out,
Watch out for what?
Duncan."
You broke up again.
Duncan.
Duncan?
Yeah, he said watch out for Duncan.
So, Loose Fang, you're the only one who knows that the horse is named Duncan. The rest of the party
But Squeaks
knows
knows.
that there's a horse. Sir Squeak knows, yes. Foluco, you're the only one that knows that Duncan, well, Sheik and Foluco now, you're the only two that know that Duncan is a that has been patrolling the streets. The rest of the party only knows that there is a curious horse.
You broke up
area.
there for a second.
Yeah.
Me and Sheik are the only one that know what?
Foluco and Sheik are the only ones that know that Duncan is a vigilante. And the rest of the party, all they know is that there is a curious odd horse that is patrolling the area.
You're forgetting one thing. I know a little bit more.
What? Oh, that's true. You do.
From my discussion with Loco, oh wow, we have a vampire slaying horse.
See, you don't know that it's the horse.
I don't
You
know
just
it's the
that
horse.
You just know that Duncan is a vigilante. And Mira, yes, you do have a bit of information that you haven't shared with the party yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess we'll get together with the others and we'll have a very interesting discussion about a horse that likes killing vampires.
So, the three men have disappeared, going off in different directions. What are you guys going to do?
Can Squeaks see the one that went in his direction?
Where is Squeaks?
Over by Duncan.
I'm gonna follow the one that went over this way.
Okay, one moment. Sir Squeaks, you are here on this street here.
Yeah, Sir Squeaks is by Duncan. I didn't know how far you threw Duncan down the darkness.
Yeah, you are too far away, Sir Squeaks. You are like 10, 15 blocks away. It's too far.
Okay.
Besides, I realize you go by echolocation, but there's too much interference.
Okay.
So, Marcus, you said you're going to follow which one?
The one that went down this way.
Okay. So, I need you to give me a spot check. Loose Fang, what are you going to do? Mira, at the same time, can you give me a spot check?
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Did I see Marcus go down? Alleyway?
Yes, Loose Fang, you did say see Marcus go that way.
I'll follow after.
There's my spot check.
Okay, Marcus. You come between the warehouse buildings, see the Great Wall of the prison complex to the south of you. You do not see any sign of the man, but you do see what looks to be a large stone sewer grating that leads underneath the prison complex. It looks large enough for someone to fit through if you are able to the grate, but you can't see how the grate would be removed. Mira, Meanwhile, you see clearly Loosefang is walking down the street to the south of the flea market and is disappearing between two of the warehouse buildings. Foluco, are you still up at the library?
Yeah, I done a little slash me thing like a while back, but you never saw it.
I'm sorry, I did miss that.
Yeah, I went to the librarian and I was asking about where to find where the location of the city An Alhim is, and if he possibly knows of the location of the third book's author. And then I was going to go out on the city, but it took you a while until nighttime, so I just sent Sir Squeaks out.
Okay, allow me.
Can you ping where you want us to look?
Yeah, it's a big map. So the city An Alhim is the High Elven city.
Yeah, it is a suburb of the High Elf capital city.
So An Alhim is a city outside the city. So there's actually two cities there.
Yes.
So it's over here?
Yes, it is on the west coast.
He's going to mark.
This bay over here is like Port Sheridan. It is a major trade center. It is also a luxury spot with a lot of beachfront property.
The elves know how to make their money.
Indeed. So, and your other question is the author of the book?
Yes, if he happens to know the location of it.
If you read the footnote of the book, it is presumed that the book was published posthumously. The author was never found.
Okay.
All right, back.
I marked it since I guess you don't have a token.
Yep. I'll get one. Yeah, but I haven't placed one yet.
All right.
Okay. So Marcus, you see this stone sewer grate, and you detect Loosefang following up closely behind you.
What did I see exactly? Because I was distracted. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You saw, whoops, yeah. So you saw Loosefang walking along the south side of the flea market and then disappearing between two of the warehouse buildings to the south.
Okay. I turn to Rusty and I just say, "Hey, I'm sorry to leave so quickly, but I must be going."
But lass, you only just got here.
I know, but something's going on.
And then his eyes get serious, and he looks off to the south. Did you see him?
Somebody certainly did. I think my party members saw them. I have to make sure they're okay.
There's skulking around here again. Here, take this with you. It'll be more. It'll be worth more to you than scared off bats. He takes the device from his pocket and presses it into your hands. Be sure to bring it back when you're done.
I will. Thank you.
So he has given you a curious device that I've never seen before. It is all metal and it's tiny rods and gears, and you're not sure how to hold it, but it looks like it is shaped somewhat like a teardrop. And when you saw him holding it, he had his hand, the broad end of it, and he had the point pointed at Sir Squeaks. That's all that you saw because he never actually activated it, so you're not sure how to use this thing.
I put it in my cloak pocket and then I head back down the stairs and out.
Okay, mark that on your character sheet. You have a strange, tear-shaped gnomish device that you don't know what it does.
I don't know what it does, but I have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
hello.
Hello, what?
Dr. Smile, friend.
That
Indeed.
Valuco is
Foluco has come down the street just as you are exiting. Coming down the street, and Foluco looks between you and Bottoms Up Tavern, and he's wondering uh, what's going on.
Layla should
Meanwhile-
probably stay with Father Kearns and Samuel.
Meanwhile, Sheik,
Yes.
let's briefly go back to the Bottoms Up Tavern.
Okay.
why does Samuel have a tail?
Pause as we move the action over to Sheik in the Bottoms Up Tavern.
Okay.
Good question, an excellent question. Sheik, after about an hour and a half of talking to different students and different patrons at the bar, only half of whom appear to be students from the academy, you are finally able to set upon one who you do identify is studying the art of scribery and calligraphy. He has revealed to you that he hopes to that he is only using Port Sheridan as a stepping stone, that he hopes to go to one of the major universities and act as a scribe on the faculty. Calligraphy is, for him, it is more of a hobby than what he is studying. And so for him, in his calligraphy classes, treats them more like fun, enjoyable pastimes than an actual study because he has so much fun with it. You find that based on your upbringing and your line of work, you're trying to hide the fact that his excitement about the different subjects of writing is, you find it extremely boring and dull.
Yeah. Well, in passing, I mentioned to him that how I am searching for somebody who can help me recreate a document that I accidentally misplaced for a person I'm representing.
An official document.
Yeah, it was a land deed.
Oh, you're in luck. I was just certified as a notary.
You were.
How very fortunate of me.
That makes my day. I wonder if I could acquire your services to possibly hide my blunder.
Well, if you can bring me a copy of the document, you can bring me an assurance of its veracity. Rise it. Okay, 5-minute warning, guys. 5-minute warning.
Well, as I had mentioned, the document has since it's gone missing and is nowhere to be found. However, I do know that there are other deeds from a similar location that I could show you, perhaps chance at the library.
All right, so I need you to roll a bluff check, Sheik.
Renji, I need to that cape. He's probably not drunk enough.
Renji is sitting at the bar, and he has actually taken 2 pints of ale so far, and he doesn't seem to be tipsy at all.
Let's see what happens.
Remember, you're dealing with a Dragonborn. He probably has a stomach of steel.
Okay, and an opposed sense motive check is...
Please, yes, yes.
Holy cow! So He actually believes your story, as bumbling as it was.
Okay.
So,
This is your lucky day, Sheik.
for next time, Sheik, you have acquired the services of a young student named Adam,
All right.
All
who,
right then.
as luck would have it, he claims that he has recently been certified as a notary.
What?
Returning, Loose Fang, Marcus, and Mira, if you choose to follow. Foluco, you're also allowed to.
I
I
had
tell Leela to stay with Father Kearns, and then I start blowing.
She looks sad, but she's
Hey.
actually somewhat afraid, and then she clings to Father Kearns while away.
Hey, Loose Fang.
we're,
Mind if we borrow your staff there to lift this stone sewer grate here?
I start looking between the
I
warehouse.
think I might be able to.
Find them.
Yeah, you're easily able to spot them because they're not trying to hide themselves. They are examining a large stone grate at the base of the prison wall.
I approach Father Kearns and ask where are they headed, and why does he have a tail?
Father Kearns, in the darkness, looks over at you as somewhat surprised as he didn't hear you approach, but quickly regains his composure and grumbles something about arcane magic and irresponsible use of power, and then kind of turns away and sits with the children.
Sounds like I missed a fun time, and I follow after Mira.
That sounds like a fun time to you.
Chaotic.
Irresponsible use of power, arcane,
Heck yeah.
resulting tail. Sounds like a great fun. All right. So you guys, about 2 minutes. What are you going to try and do?
Lift up the crate or the grate or sewer.
So
or whatever.
you're gonna hook your staff into one of the bars of the grate and try and lift it.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to work together on this?
I approach from behind and ask what you're doing.
About to ask you for some help.
Doing what?
Lift.
Get the horse.
Wait, what about a horse?
What? No, we're not getting a horse. We're lifting up this grate or sewer cover, whatever.
Since when have you taken up the hobby into dumpster diving?
Well, we thought we saw a shifty character go down this way, so...
And you thought it was a good idea to jump in after them?
Might as well.
Have fun.
Are you gonna help us lift it up?
No, I don't want to get my armor dirty. Bye.
I look at your armor, it's just like, really? Your armor is made out of dead things. I'm not sure it's gonna get any dirtier.
Yes, and it's freshly bleached. You know, sun bleached, nice and white, got the bones all pretty. Can't be staining it with sewage.
Van.
Mm-hmm. All
right, guys. It is now midnight. We're gonna have to pause it here.
Okay.
There is no way that I should have been able to convince that guy to forge a document for me.
So Foluco.
So what?
Is the stream still going?